That's a full ton of weight on the bottom vault. Now, naturally, it will have a little give, so leaving a proper amount of space on the top of the load provides a margin of safety. You should try to maintain balance in the vault. Since they're handled by lift trucks and stacked, an unbalanced vault can create a serious safety hazard. Here are a few more ideas to keep in mind. Refrigerators that are going into a vault should have a product like Reefer Sweet inside to prevent odors. If not, prop the door open with a pad to provide some air circulation. If green help or inexperienced seasonal helpers are working on a vault, be sure an experienced employee is keeping an eye on the job to avoid rookie loading mistakes that can lead to claims. While you're working, if damage occurs, notify your agency's claims representative immediately so the proper action can be taken. Don't hide it and put a damaged item in the vault. It's only human to make mistakes, so be professional and own up to them. As you load the cartons, be sure to set them right side up, since the packers were careful to keep the heaviest items on the bottom. Set a few cartons aside to use in your last tier. When you get close to filling the vault, check the area for any misplaced or forgotten pieces to the shipment. Whenever possible, build your last tier using all cartons. This prevents spillouts when the vault is opened and provides a professional look for the customer when their household items arrive on site. Customers will frequently decide to pick up specific items from a shipment going into storage. At the time of loading, they'll notify the driver what items should be set aside for early retrieval. So, before packing a vault, check with the driver to see if he was given a list of items that the customer will want to retrieve before the others. For example, a customer may send a microwave along with the load. While most of the items will be stored for a while, the customer has indicated he or she will want to get this item sooner. When you have a list of these goods, make sure they're the last items in the vault, so they can be the first out. Also, don't build early out items into the tier so tightly that you'll have to repack the vault once they're removed. Before the vault is closed and sealed, an authorized person must do a visual inspection of the vault. Be sure the load looks neat and organized, because this will be the customer's first impression of the load on delivery. After the inspection, tag the vault with the customer's name. Only after the inspection should you mount the vault door panel. Now fill out the location or control card noting which items have been stored outside the vault. These non-vaulted items would include the gas-powered equipment, ladders, sofas that are on the overstuffed furniture racks, and rugs. The vault is then moved to its permanent location as indicated by the floor markings. Before moving on, just a word or two about storing non-vaulted items, such as overstuffed furniture and certain pieces of furniture. Sweep off the rack that will store the furniture. Overstuffed furniture should be stretch-wrapped and protected with a sofa cover or pad. This will keep the item dust-free. The added protection will be removed before delivery to the customer. Be sure the furniture is covered completely. Cover all other furniture with stretch wrap to keep the dust off it. If it's on the floor in a traffic area, pad it as though it were going onto a truck. Tag the items with the customer's name and storage lot number and note their location on your control sheets. Some warehousemen store rolled carpets in cardboard tubes, like the tubes used for forming concrete pilings. This is a clever and inexpensive way to protect expensive rugs. Odd-sized items, like ladders, should have a special place in the warehouse so all the similar things can be kept in one easy-to-find place. Tag the non-vaulted items with the customer's name and storage lot number. Tape the tags, because otherwise they will fall off in time. Make sure you note the location of the customer's non-vaulted items on your control sheet. To avoid theft or prevent getting loads mixed with other customers' items, all shipments should be vaulted by the end of the day. Of course, this isn't always possible, and Rule 19 shipments are generally not vaulted. It's recommended vaulting Rule 19 shipments at the residence, but this isn't always possible. So, when a shipment has to remain on the floor, set the high-value items in the middle, covered up and surrounded with mattress cartons, OS, and other items to keep them from view. You still might want to consider vaulting items that have exceptionally high value, but remember to enter their location on the control card. Many warehousemen cover the entire shipment with stretch wrap to prevent tampering with it. When storing a Rule 19 shipment, follow the same procedures. Before releasing the shipment, be sure to provide the driver with the weight tickets that are required on non-TPG shipments. When a customer requests delivery of their goods, they expect and deserve prompt and professional service. Even if things are very busy, we have to take the time to check and double-check a shipment leaving the warehouse. The key for ensuring the complete order gets to its destination is the control card. Make sure others can read your notes. The control card provides a paper trail that's easy to follow. It's your roadmap to finding the vaults, the overstuffed furniture racks, rugs, and all the other non-vaulted items. When the shipment is pulled from storage, stage it on the dock with all the tags visible to make it easy to identify the items as they're checked off the control card. With the shipment assembled and checked, it's ready to go on the truck. As with the over-the-road delivery, make sure the shipment is complete before leaving the warehouse. At the destination, open the vaults carefully, being alert so nothing falls out. When you take the pads off the furniture, fold them as soon as they are removed so you can check for loose items like hardware, casters, and hinge pins. If you find any damage on an item, report it to the driver, not the customer. Always let the driver deal with any job-related issues. Your place is to be courteous and polite, but when it comes to issues involving missing items or claims, those should be left up to the driver. As soon as a vault is known to be empty, fold and stack the pads that were used in it so none are left or lost. Make sure all items have been removed from each vault. Check the entire vault for small parts that may have slipped out of dresser drawers or bundled items. Once a vault has been verified as empty, designate one as your trash vault. Make a label to be sure there are no mistakes. If used wrap from an empty carton is tossed in any other vault, it's easy to cover up some of the customer's goods so they may be missed during delivery. Do a final walkthrough of the residence to be sure all debris from the delivery crew, like water bottles and lunch wrappers, is picked up. Before leaving the residence, be sure all the paperwork involving the customer is completed and signed. When you get back to the warehouse, the vault should be inspected for damage, any misplaced contents, and the correct amount of pads. Generally, it's recommended having 20 to 30 pads in each vault. Any trash in the vaults should be removed and thrown away. When a customer arranges to come and pick up some items rather than have them delivered, pull the vaults before the customer arrives. This makes it faster and easier for the customer to find what they're looking for, and it reduces Allied's claim exposure. When the customer arrives, don't let him or her handle items in the vault. Get the items for him. Remove them yourself. Once they're out of the vault, carry them for the customer. Hand scale the items removed and have the weight adjusted for billing purposes. Take them to the customer's car, truck, or van to be sure the owner doesn't drop or damage an item or hurt themselves carrying it. Warehouse security is everyone's responsibility. During the busy season, several trucks arrive and leave on a daily basis. Customers may show up to take items out of storage. There's a lot of activity on the floor and around the dock. These are the conditions where it's more difficult to prevent theft. Here are a few general precautions that should be taken. Everyone should be vigilant at all times. For instance, Stop and question anyone in the warehouse who is not an employee. In most cases, these people will probably be vendors, inspectors, part-time labor, even a customer. However, they'll understand and appreciate your concern for security. The simple rule of thumb is, if you don't know someone, ask them who they are and why they're in the warehouse. It's a good idea to keep all the non-essential doors securely locked. The access to the warehouse should be limited to only those who have reason to be there. For safety as well as security, the warehouse personnel need to be aware of who has authority to be in or around the warehouse. It's a good idea to prohibit employee parking near access doors to the warehouse. This way it's easy to spot any unauthorized car or truck that may be parked close enough that a thief could slip something out of the warehouse unnoticed. To ensure overnight security, it's recommended that the warehouseman or someone in authority be accountable as the first person in each morning and the last person out to lock up at night. This person should also be responsible to see that the parking lot gates are locked each night. Surveillance cameras and posted signs are highly recommended security measures. Cameras frequently deter theft, yet if it does occur, the cameras are extremely useful in apprehending the thieves. For more details on warehousing standards and security, consult Allied's website. When shipments are pulled for delivery from storage, or when a load has to be left on the floor before vaulting, be sure it is not left unattended for any extended length of time. In addition to screening new employees and checking their references prior to hiring, many agents insist on drug screening. New employees should be aware that they'll be closely watched while in training for signs of possible problems and tendencies for theft. Trust in employment, as it is in friendships, has to be earned. And as a business, the company can't be too careful. Having enough trained labor on hand when needed is critical to managing a successful warehouse. The warehouseman must forecast the needs and get the authority to hire people. The need for new hires should be determined well in advance to allow sufficient time for hiring and training. When interviewing new or seasonal help, be upfront about what's expected. If your agency can't afford permanent summer help, it's worth considering the use of a temp service, which provides pre-screened labor or college students. When bringing on temporary or seasonal helpers, don't lower your standards or relax your dress code just because you're busy. Even part-timers should be provided with black jeans and uniform shirts. Follow your normal procedures for screening, reference checks, and drug testing. By anticipating your needs to handle the busy season and hiring early, you can weed out and replace inadequate summer help before you're in a bind for trained helpers. When you have new hires or summer help, spend adequate time with them to cover the basics of the business and make certain they view this tape. They need to learn how to lift correctly, use pads and the various furniture wraps, understand carton descriptions, and warehouse terminology. If it's possible, a Saturday should be used for individual or group training. An old shipment or abandoned lot makes for a good teaching device to demonstrate wraps and tier building. During training, make it clear what you expect from new hires. Make sure they know who their supervisors are, and be sure they understand any special rules or conduct must be maintained. Let them know there's a probation period for them to prove themselves. Also remind them there is always something to do, even during the slowest of times. At the end of the summer or a busy period, get the contact information for the best workers, so you'll be able to get a hold of them for the next busy season. By having good help return, you can maintain the same crews summer after summer, and they'll develop good working relationships. In this program, we've covered the main issues in warehousing shipments and managing the general operations in storing and delivering shipments. In this business, not every shipment follows the same pattern as others. And of course, no two warehouses are laid out or operated the same way. Consequently, flexibility and willingness to adapt to changing situations is important. It takes control and creativity to make your warehouse a success in this highly profitable segment of the moving and storage process. You'll be successful if you're willing to change and experiment until you come up with the best formula for your warehouse. Of course, as in any business, the key to a smooth running operation is treating your co-workers, customers, and drivers with respect and understanding. Teamwork is the key to keeping any warehouse operating smoothly and efficiently. This video has covered a lot of issues. It's a big responsibility for anyone working in or around a warehouse. You should be proud to be a part of the warehouse team.